Hi friends! Today I'm going to give you the ultimate list of 2024 horror movies. I bet you 100%, can I guarantee that there is a film, at least one, on this list that you haven't heard of, and hopefully one that you'll be excited for. Honestly, there's something for everybody. We're gonna jump straight in because there's a lot to cover, but I do want to thank my patrons really quickly for making videos like this possible. My Patreon is a place where you can support what I do here on this channel in exchange for perks. You get a bonus video every single week, you can access the Discord, and you can do hangout movie nights with me. If you want to know more about my Patreon, just check out the link down in the description. It's always there. Thank you again if you're watching this and you're a patron. Okay, let's jump in. I'm gonna start with all of the films that have release dates. I'm actually gonna go by month because it changes, and of course this depends what country you're in. This is the wide release. And I'm also going to explain why I'm excited for every single movie that we talk about, because I'm not just throwing these on a list. I've only kept the ones that I'm actually excited to see and that I think you'll be excited about. Okay, BagHead. This one is about a young woman who inherits a rundown pub and discovers a dark secret living within its basement. This is coming out in February in most countries. This is the first clause I have. This does not have a release date in America, and I have double checked with sources about this. There is no distributor at the moment, but you can expect it in the UK, and I'm going to be able to see it in Australia. The reason why this one's on the list is because I'm very excited to see what they do with the entity. This has one of the same writers from Night Swim, so I'm just seeing what they can do and what's possible. So I'm very curious to see how this one turns out. But one I know more people are excited about is Lisa Frankenstein. And this is a coming of rage love story about a teenager and her crush who happens to be a corpse. So many reasons why you should be excited about this one. Number one, I mean, did you see how it looked? But it's also the directorial debut of Zelda Williams, which is Robin Williams's daughter. But it's written by Jennifer's Body's writer, Diablo Cody, and it looks to be a really fun watch that will have us in stitches. I'm sorry. This one should be coming out in most places in February. On a hot summer day in Oslo, the dead mysteriously awaken and 3 families are thrown into chaos. That is the storyline for Handling the Undead, which is the second novel by the same person who wrote Let the Right One In. That is why I'm excited for this one, and this one should be released in February in some countries, at least in Scandinavia, and I'm hoping for a wide release to be announced very soon. It looks creepy, it looks moody, and although it could be kind of zombie-ish, which is not my favorite subgenre. I have not read the book, but I have pretty high hopes in the story. Okay, one for the fan service. I love Ghostbusters, and I am excited for the new Ghostbusters movie. This is Frozen Empire, and this is coming out in March. This one is about the discovery of an ancient artifact that unleashes an evil force, and Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and save the world from a second ice age. I know not everyone is up for the fan service of the new Ghostbusters, but I think it will be a really good breakup for the year. This is coming in March, and sometimes we just want something nice and fluffy to watch. I really like Afterlife, and I think that this one's going to deliver the same kind of vibe. So if you liked that film, this is one to mark for your calendars. In March, everyone's excited for Love Lies Bleeding. This is more of a thriller, but it is a romance fueled by ego, desire, and the American dream. It stars Kristen Stewart as a gym employee and Katie O'Brien as a bodybuilder. Rose Glass is directing, which is very exciting, and it also stars Jenna Malone and Dave Franco. I cannot wait for this feature. I love Kristen Stewart, and I love Rose Glass after St. Maud, so I'm very excited to see what comes out of this one. And then one that may be controversial, a young American woman is sent to Rome to begin her life of service at a church, but encounters a darkness that causes her to question her faith. It does sound very stereotypical. This is The First Omen. I like a prequel. I know not everyone likes a prequel, but I think that The Omen is a franchise that has been untouched for a while, and even people were okay with the remake. And I honestly think that this might be the religious horror that breaks the cycle of bad nun movies. People going nuts over the trailer, which I have not watched in full, but it does star Nell Tiger-Free, who's from Servant, and I love her, so I think she's the perfect fit for this kind of ominous, moody, religious horror movie. This one is set for the wide release in April. In May, we have Strangers Chapter 1, where we follow a couple who drive across the country towards a new beginning, but endure a night of terror against 3 masked strangers. I believe this is being released on the same day on the internet, so that's exciting. But the producer said that shooting this story as a trilogy will allow us to create a hyper-real and terrifying character study, which makes me really interested to see how this is going to play out as a trilogy. So I'm very excited to see this reimagining and how they're going to break down the stories behind that, if it's going to make it more scary or less scary, because the whole point of the strangers is they're faceless, and it's the whole just because you were home. So I'm very curious to see how they change this, and the trailer or the teaser trailer looks very unnerving. So I'm very curious. Okay, June. This has moved a couple of times, but we have A Quiet Place Day 1. This is not going to be the same story, follow the same family. This is actually going to show an alternative situation that's happening at the same time. Kind of like how Bird Box Barcelona was released last year and did a similar thing. I loved the other films in this series. I know not everyone was a fan, but I thought they were quite solid. But I wasn't too sure about this change of storyline. Although, then I heard about the cast. We got Alex Wolff, Lupita Nyong'o, and Joseph Quinn. The plot is being kept under wraps, but I'm very excited. I love Lupita, and I'm just excited to see her return to horror. The Watchers follows Mina, a 28-year-old who gets lost in a forest in West Ireland. This is exciting for a couple of reasons. This is Ishana Shyamalan, M. Night Shyamalan's daughter's directorial debut. It's based on a book by the same name by A.M. Shine, who co-wrote the script, and it stars Dakota Fanning and Georgina Campbell. So I'm very excited to see how that ends up, and I wonder if it's going to have the same kind of twists we expect from the Shyamalan empire. Okay, I'm going to ask you to stay on board for this one. Alien. I know not everyone likes the new Alien films. I do. In this one, all we know is that young people from a distant world must face the most terrifying life form in the universe. It's not giving much, but we've got Fede Alvarez directing. And what's really exciting about this is that he has shown a cut of the film to Ridley Scott, who said, "What can I say? It's fucking great." Come on, are you not excited after hearing that? This film is meant to take place between Alien and Aliens, so I'm very keen to see any kind of teaser trailer when it comes out. This one will be released in August, apparently. And in September, we'll have the highly awaited Beetlejuice 2. This is the follow-up to Beetlejuice, probably needs no introduction, but although people don't have high hopes, I am still hanging on, you know? I want to be positive. And the cast is amazing. We've got Jenna Ortega, Winona Ryder's back, Catherine O'Hara, William Dafoe, and of course, Michael Keaton. Tim Burton also said that he hates doing studio films, but he really enjoyed this process. He said he got to strip back everything and go back to the basics of working with good people, good actors, and good puppets. It was like going back to why I liked making movies, which makes me very excited to see how it will turn out. Okay, these next two, we don't have a lot of information, but they are parts of a franchise/sequel. First is Saw 11. We don't know much, but they have given us an exact date and then not let us know about any of the plot. After Saw X, Saw 10, I'm very keen to see what comes out of this. Interesting that they've confirmed the exact date, but no storyline, so I can't wait to see what they're gonna do. And Parker Finn is back in October to bring us back Smile 2. I loved the first Smile. I know a lot of people will murmur about it, but what I really like about this director is he's gone on the record to say that the sequel to this film will not retread any ground. It's going to be a completely new story dealing with probably, obviously, the same circumstances. He said he wanted to be something different and something more, and especially not something that people will expect. So I'm very interested to see what kind of sequel this will be, because he seems to be following a very different formula, and that is very different from any other sequel that we usually get in horror movies. October also means Terrifier 3. Some of you will wonder why this is on my list. Well, Terrifier 3, set in October, but it's a Christmas movie, which is baffling already. We follow Art the Clown once again, who is set to unleash chaos on the unsuspecting residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off on Christmas Eve. Very interesting that this is not a Christmas movie. It's being released around Halloween. I don't know what's gonna happen unless it's a Nightmare Before Christmas kind of situation, which is kind of funny. I am excited for the end of this trilogy because I want answers. I need answers. There's been so many questions that have been brought up throughout Art's journey. that I've been following, you know, in his short films. So I really want to see where this is going to go. And I want to know what the frick is up with that sword. And I'm really hoping that they deliver the answers to the questions and we just don't get more. I honestly have a feeling that this might not be a trilogy and it might just keep going, but I really want answers, don't you? And the last one that has a confirmed date, which hopefully will not move, is Nosferatu, as you say in American. Either way you put it, I'm very excited for this reimagining. I think that they got the director perfect, Robert Eggers, and then of course we've got William Dafoe, Lily Rose Depp, Emma Corrin, Nicholas Hoult, who seems to be getting all the vampire films, and of course, Bill Skarsgård. This is a gothic tale of obsession between a vampire and a woman. I have seen this film in so many different ways, so many different versions, and I'm really excited to see how this plays out. This one's gonna be coming out later December, almost Christmas time, but in some countries it will be pushed back a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 weeks back. We'll be getting it in January in Australia. Okay, and here is 25 films that you maybe, probably have not heard of. You definitely have not heard of all of them. Please stick with me as I attempt to paint the picture because we don't have a lot of information on these films. First one needs no introduction. It is Shelby Oaks. This is about a woman's desperate search for a long-lost sister, and she falls into obsession upon realizing that the imaginary demon from their childhood may have been real. This is by fellow YouTuber and reviewer Chris Stuckman, who I love. I really hope if you do have the opportunity to have this in your local cinema that everyone will go out and watch this one and buy a ticket to support him. I'm scared, but I'm also very excited to see how this is going to turn out. I think everyone is. Next is Cuckoo, which has been on a lot of people's radar for a little while. It stars Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. I'm a little bit iffy on Dan Stevens, but what I'm really excited about is the director, who is Tillman Singer, who directed Lutz, which was one of my favorite films of 2018, I want to say. This is the story of a 17-year-old girl who is forced to move with her family to a resort where things are not what they seem. Seems very mystery, very thriller, and if you have seen Lutz or anything by this director before, you'll know it's very unique the way that they capture especially paranormal aspects, and I'm very excited to see what's next, especially with Hunter. They released Toxic Avenger last year at film festivals, and although I know some people who have seen it and loved it, we have not got a wide release date yet. This one stars Elijah Wood and it's a remake of the classic smutty film. It also has Jacob Tremblay, who I loved as a child actor, and he's 17 now, so I'm excited to see kind of like transition into being an adult actor. This is about a toxic accident that transforms a janitor into a somewhat hero. I'm not the biggest Truma film fan. There's definitely gaps in my knowledge, but this is my favorite film by far, so I'm very excited to see it recreated. James DeMonaco, who directed the Purge films, is back to direct a horror movie about a man, Max, who goes to work at a retirement home, and he realizes while he's there that not everything is as it seems and that there's sinister secrets in this building. Why am I so excited about this one? Guess who Max is? It's Pete Davidson. I'm not too sure of the tone yet, but it makes me very curious and highly anticipated for its release. This is called The Home, by the way. The next film is so exciting though. It's Steven Soderbergh, who I love, such a respected director, teaming up with Lucy Liu and Julia Fox for a horror movie. The blurb for this one simply says that it is a suburban home that is haunted by a mysterious entity. So we will wait and see. That cast is killer. Steven Soderbergh always knows what he's doing, so I'm very keen to see what comes out of Presence. The next one though, we have a teaser trailer for. This is Longlegs, the Oz Perkin occult horror movie that stars Nicolas Cage. This is about an FBI agent who is assigned an unsolved serial killer case that takes unexpected turns. If you haven't seen the teaser trailer, I will link it down below because it is thrilling. It is something else, and it does not give away much. It just gives away a very mysterious vibe. It feels very Skinamarink, but I know it's gonna have more of an elaborate structure and storyline. So Oz Perkins sometimes is known for his slow burns. I'm hoping he's gonna ramp it up a little bit during this, but what he's given away in this teaser trailer, it feels very different for him. So I'm very excited for this one, and you should be too. I'm also excited about David Cronenberg, who is back with this kind of sci-fi Black Mirror-ish film. This is about a businessman who creates a device to connect with the dead. I mean, this picture is all we've got, and if it's anything like that, it sounds wild. And of course, being David Cronenberg, probably some kind of body horror and reanimation going on with the whole storyline. So very excited to see how this turns out. It also stars Guy Pearce and Vincent Cassel. Adrift. Okay, I am not the biggest fan of Jared Leto, but imagine this. He's alone during the entire film on a ghost ship, and it's directed by Darren Aronofsky. I will watch anything that Darren Aronofsky puts out, but this is a very interesting and thrilling idea, especially for a horror movie. Life of Chuck is a new Mike Flanagan film that is meant to be coming out this year, and it's known to be a genre-bending film, so it's across a lot of different genres. It's the life-affirming genre-bending story based on Stephen King's novella about 3 chapters in the life of an ordinary man. This one stars Matthew Lillard, again Jacob Tremblay, and Tom Hiddleston. So very excited to see what comes out. I don't even need to introduce this next film, MaXXXine. It does not have a date out yet. We are waiting. Of course, this is the follow-up. This is the 3rd film in the trilogy of X, following MaXXXine once again. Here, she continues her journey towards fame to be an actress in 1980s Los Angeles. This film is starring Mia Goth, and it's directed by Ty West, and we just want to see it. In I Saw the TV Glow, 2 teenagers bond over their love of a television series after it mysteriously gets cancelled and their reality begins to blur. This is an A24 horror movie starring Justice Smith, Amber Benson, and Fred Durst, amongst others. This is the same director as We're All Going to the World's Fair, so it's kind of an extension on the idea of that, I believe, and I'm very keen to see how it turns out. Late Night with the Devil is about a live television broadcast in the 70s that goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil. This film has been stuck in the festival rounds for a while. I know a lot of you have seen it in festivals near you, local ones. I'm just really ready for a wide release. The storyline looks amazing and something that I'd be very interested in. In Faces of Death, which is a reworking of the original film, if you want to call it a film, we follow a young content moderator who comes across a series of clips and videos that disturb her. I like the idea of this coming into modern day and how it translates from what it originally was, and it also stars Barbie Ferreira, which I'm very keen on. It's the same writer and director as Cam as well, and I can't wait to see any first images that we get so we know the stylization. A remake set up for success, The Wolfman. We have Leigh Whannell once again directing a Universal Monsters comes modern time. I'm hoping this one's gonna be modern, I'm not too sure. But what it is starring Julia Gardner and Christopher Abbott, and it's expected in October. It's about a man and his family that is scared to death by a vicious predator. I love the original Wolfman, and I'm excited to see this kind of spin on that tale, especially from Leigh Whannell. This one, you're gonna have to stay with me because it's called Untitled Monster Thriller for Universal Pictures Project. This is Melissa Barrera and Angus Cloud, and they are being directed by Radio Silence, the co-directors. So whatever comes out of this is going to be very interesting. I just want to put it on your radar. One you probably have heard of though is Human Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. This is a French-Canadian film that I've heard great things about, and they say it might be released in some places in March, but we still don't have a wide release date. It's about a young vampire who is unable to kill to meet her need for blood, but she may have found a solution in a young man with certain tendencies. I've been keen on this one for a long time, and everyone I know who has seen it in a festival loved it. And of course, we have Blacula, which is back for a requel, a modernized requel. This is rumored to hit just in time for Halloween, but it doesn't even have an IMDb page yet. It's meant to pick up after the setup of the original films, and we follow the prince as he reawakens in a post-pandemic present day, ready to seek revenge on humanity's crimes. I'm very keen how it's going to be set in modern times. So again, one that I'm very excited to see the stylization for, and the casting as well. One we don't know too much about is Trap, and M. Night Shyamalan himself has said that this one will come out in 2024. He is directing. It also stars Josh Hartnett and his daughter, his other daughter, Dalika Shyamalan. This one wrapped in October. It did get permission to go into production during the strikes, so let's hope that it comes out in this next year. It is another original written by him, so I'm very keen to see what he's been cooking up. The Crow is also set to release in 2024 if all goes to plan. This is one that's going to be a very controversial release with Bill Skarsgård. I know not a lot of people are going to be okay with whatever happens, but I am very keen to see some imagery. This is a modern reimagining of a beloved character, the Crow, based on the original graphic novel. But something most people will be happy about is Sydney Sweeney as a nun. We get that. Hopefully this year. This is called Immaculate, and it's about a woman who is welcomed into a picture-perfect Italian countryside to work at a convent, but it becomes very clear quite fast that this place is harboring dark secrets. Heretic is the supposed rumored story of two women who are lured into a cat and mouse game with a man. It's got Sophie Thatcher and Hugh Grant, and Hugh Grant I always thought was a little bit creepy, so I'm keen to see if he can really, if he's got the acting chops for a horror movie. I want to see if he can pull it off. And Weapons has the same director as Barbarian and also stars Pedro Pascal, which I know you're already dying. This is, quote, an unrelated multi-horror story epic about the disappearance of high school students in a small town. Very interesting. And we have another Frankenstein entry, hopefully for 2024. If not, this may be moved to 2025. They just switched out one of the leads for Australian actor Jacob Elordi. Based on the original story by Mary Shelley, we will follow a doctor who needs to track down Frankenstein's monster, who is believed to be dead. I don't know what's going on with this one, but it has Oscar Isaac and Mia Goth, and it's directed by Del Toro, and that's all the information I need to put it at the top of my to-watch list. And Morford Clark is finally back to horror for Starve Acre. This is about a family that is thrown into turmoil when their child starts to act out of character. Morford Clark is amazing, and I know she's gonna kill this role. And last but definitely not least, we have Caddo Lake, a mysterious horror with a stellar cast, including Lauren Ambrose and Aussie Eliza Skellion. This is about an 8-year-old girl who goes missing at Caddo Lake, and then this is linked to the dark history of this family that comes to the surface. I'm very keen for this mystery horror. There you go, there's a list like none other that is full of movies that you probably have not heard of. Let me know if any tickle your fancy, and if you'd like to dive into some new horror with me, I just went and saw Night Swim. And also, if you want to check out what else is coming out this month, I have a video on that too. I've left all the films I talked about today in the description for your convenience, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.